Well, Putin the cat is just fine, and I'm not going to hold him in the office because I got my other cat in there. He's Caesar's up on the shelf, and they probably, I don't know, I'm introducing him nice and slow, but he's right here, hanging out on the top of the bookcase. I just want to talk a little bit about beware of electronic money and electronic anything. Damn it. Well, I introduced this with the other. I usually hold the other Putin the cat up here, and I got the window open, and Caesar's up. He's acting more like Nero. He's up there on his shelf. He's a very shy cat. He was the shyest cat they ever had in the whole place, the rescue place. So I'm going to try to give him good nutrition and stuff, and hopefully he'll turn around, man. I think he will, as long as he turns around with the cat and the cats get along. But I'm going to ad-lib here real quick because my cat actually is scared of everybody else that he meets except me. He likes me. He's like totally follows me everywhere. He sees another person come in, he runs under the bed. That's how he is. Maybe this guy will be like that too. I don't know. But anyway, I just want to warn a little bit about anything that's electronic. I've always been a little bit of even though I got into a lot of the computer stuff because I had a pretty strong math background. Actually, I was a math major before I switched to an accounting major in college. And I actually had the 30 credit core curriculum of advanced mathematics before I took accounting. Actually, you needed only 24 credits in advanced mathematics in a university. So I kind of gravitated pretty fast to the computer world, but I still don't trust electronic stuff, to tell you the truth. It was quite a change coming out of the Marine Corps because I was like, not only did I forget pretty much a lot of stuff I learned in accounting, but I also was a hit with all this brand new computer stuff, and I was like, holy smokes, what is this stuff? And I actually got up to speed extremely fast, probably because of the math background, because a lot of it was just like, mathematics, But that being said, I still don't trust a lot of electronic stuff because basically they can cut your air supply off at any time. Now, I'm going to give you an example. This is about a car. Actually, a new car will disable itself over financial status. It's like, even this stuff with the electronic wallet with the bitcoins and the theory behind it, I kind of like that, but I still like the idea of physical metals much better. Actually, to tell you the truth, I do. I still like the idea of physical metals much better. There's pitfalls to every damn thing there is. So maybe you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Even if silver's going to go to straight to the moon from here, from some point in time, might take a few years and a few ups and downs, but it might go pretty much to the moon at some point. I still don't believe in that theory about putting all your eggs in one basket because that's what the silver pumpers used to say. But I do not like a lot of the storage of wealth by electronic means. I don't, not at all, never have. And this is an example. New car will disable itself over financial status. So now if you buy a battery in your electric car and stuff like that, they can actually stop you from charging it up and all kinds of garbage. I guess the only way to actually combat all this stuff where they got control over the individual is to go old school. Because, people give up their freedoms willingly because of a little convenience. That's what they do, right? And, even if you're a homeowner, it's more work than being an apartment person a lot of times. But it's like a lot of times people, right now there's a trend for Americans to even be moving into apartments, I think, because of, I don't know, I guess maybe it's the economy or whatever the hell is going on, but there's a lot, and they're paying higher and higher, and they're getting squeezed with higher and higher rents all the time. But it's also partly a convenience because, anybody can pretty much, there's so much vast of expanse in the United States, anybody can, if they wanted to be like a real homesteader, they can move out into the country someplace and live and do their stuff, but it requires a hell of a lot of work, doesn't it? So part of it is, it's work. It's work, man. But anyway, I'm a hands-on type person, and I understand that, not only, it's one reason I was into the construction accounting area because it's hands-on. It's hands-on. It's not purely finance, and it actually makes a product that's useful to people. But I just want to point out that, you're not going to really like fight the powers that be by getting behind, Alex Jones, David Icke, or any of these clowns like that. Actually, the way you do it is by your own individual actions. You just kind of like don't participate in a lot of this stuff. If somebody's a plumber, somebody's an electrician, somebody knows a lot of different trades. You really don't really. You're pretty much autonomous. You're pretty much autonomous. You can pretty much do everything on your own. You pretty much not partake in stuff where they got you on a string. It's like the real wealth is actually the material things. It's not the electronic things. That's why I don't trust the electronic stuff. It's like, it's convenient, it's necessary, you have to have it. The only thing I like about electronic stuff is communications. Obviously, the way that we have where we can communicate and share ideas today is fantastic. The YouTube stuff, the videos, you can explain on how to do things. And I actually like doing a lot more of those videos than I do on some of the silver updates sometimes. But it's like I like putting my own perspective out there on this financial stuff because I don't like, the fear for liberty, we are change, and all this kind of garbage coming out, scaring the crap out of people all the time. I just don't like that type of stuff, so I like putting my perspective out on things. Now, something I said yesterday about the budgets possibly being a problem, the governmental budgets being a problem in 2014. Now they're talking in the major media, and I don't know if it's just bad information or what, because I don't trust any stories, but they're talking that they got a lot of the problems ironed out because they're backing away from Obamacare and that type of stuff. But I'm still not 110% sure about that because, whether you're for Obama or not, and I think it wouldn't matter what president was in power right now, during the Obama administration, there's been more debt added to the U.S. government's debt, basically, than all the previous presidents combined. Now, if it was another president, it would have still probably been the same thing because it looks like the powers that be are playing the game to basically cause extreme debt in all the governments, and they're going to break everything at once, and they're going to cause you to have a financial reset. So, ergo, I really do think there's going to be a major panic into the metals, and they're going to go way higher than they should, because it's going to be like an Olympic-sized swimming pool trying to run into the size of a thimble with the supply of silver and gold that's out there. Even though there may be a lot more gold than we think, there's astronomically more dollars out there, especially in the form of derivatives, than there is precious metals. You're talking not trillions or quadrillions. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, millions, billions, trillions, quadrillions. You got loads of money out there that if they tries to go, part of that money even tries to go even into probably the enormous supplies of gold that we have. And you have to remember that even though there may be a lot of gold supplies that aren't mined and they still have to come out of the ground, finished product is one thing that's versus another product that's basically sitting in the ground. Or even, people invest in physical metals, they invest in bullion. It's more or less you can't actually get enough of the coins fast enough. There's going to be a problem of a shortage in silver at the end product of coins. There may be ingots of silver laying around in warehouses, but that doesn't mean there's going to be enough coins to go around. And if there's a big, it doesn't have to be a major shortage, it just has to be, a several percent shortage. That can actually drive the price up exponentially very fast. So, it's a little bit of a waiting game, but you're in the right spot right now, and don't fear the metals. But real long range solution to fighting, you call it the Illuminati, the elite. It basically is to go more old school and opt out of the system, more or less. You have to actually do things on your own. Now, I've always been a person like that. Even though I worked in an office, I always do my own stuff. I do my put my own roof on a house. I do all that stuff, man. Everything. And it's like, I feel like I'm pretty well independent, so I don't really have a fear of what's going to happen in the electronic world too much, whereas other people are totally at the behest of it. It's like if you live in an apartment, you know, if your electronic wallet or whatever the hell it is, your money is screwed up that way, you are SOL all the way. You are SOL. And, you know, that's actually going to be the vast majority of people that are in the cities. That's probably what's going to happen. You know, actually, if my advice for anybody in the cities would probably be to tell you to get the hell out. Get the hell out. Because if there actually is a financial calamity, actually the very smart people that are on the top of Wall Street, they all have their getaways out west and up in Alaska and the mountains in Montana. They all have them. They all have them. They're not stupid. They're not stupid. They may have their domiciles and offices in the cities, but they're ready to get out if they need to. You know, I don't want to panic people about this stuff, but you know, that's part of the deal. That's part of the deal. You got to be independent as possible, and that's one reason not to trust the electronic system, because they can cut you off at any time, and that's bad news. That's bad news. And so anyway, I also want to mention something else. A lot of times people are trying to figure out what's going on with these markets. A lot of times it's psychological all the way. But, you know, when I'm talking about these health videos, many times nutrition, food, and these healing things that you can possibly do will actually give you a mental edge on a lot of different things that occur in the financial world. I would venture to say that a lot more people that are successful actually eat very healthy foods. And it's because that keeps your mind alert at the same time. You know, I actually feel that a lot of times when I use this BT7 bio, now it's BT8 biotuner by Soda Instruments, I use that every day for 40 minutes. I use the Lukovsky coil and all that type of stuff. I think it gives me a very clear, calm picture of what's going on in the markets too, to tell you the truth. Now, I'm not somebody that's going to be running in and out of things left and right like a day trader. And I'm just waiting for a big explosive blow off top in the metals. And I think there's, like I said, I think there's going to be something, there's going to be a major rise in 2014. And if it gets too far ahead of itself, it's going to reset and go down, not to the levels they are today, but down in 2015 and probably have the blow off top in 2017. Now, gold actually has gotten near the 1200 mark. Now it's recovered somewhat. And, you know, the fact that it didn't go below the 1200 mark is telling you that, you know, we may be past the actual absolute low. And, you know, maybe people are going to be kicking themselves for not buying precious metals at these levels right now later on. That's what I'm thinking. The sentiment has changed so bad. Before they were screaming to buy stuff over 40 because it's going to 100. Now they won't touch it at 20. Amazing, amazing. You know, if you look at the big overall picture, that's telling you what's going on. But I'm going to say one thing. There's a major beauty to the precious metals, because I don't think you can trust electronic anything. Anything. I mean, it's convenient. It's part of your very, everyday life. It's not going to be like you're going to be able to say nothing, no electronic anything. You're not going to be able to say that. But to get too heavy into, you know, just depend only upon that, I think that's a very bad maneuver. And, you know, they can cut you off at any time. Now, as far as, you know, I was talking about this new car will disable itself over financial status. You know, it's like they're going to be able to, like, you know, say, you know, you can't charge up your electronic car. You'll be able to, you know, stop the car and all this kind of stuff like that. Actually, I think, you know, anybody that's, you know, you saw about the fiery crash that happened too with the whistleblower, you know, I was talking about, and with his car, with his Mercedes, and you know, if he was driving something old-fashioned, it probably would have never happened like that. That's something else that you can consider too. I also have to say this about a lot of this alternative media and things. If anybody is a real whistleblower, if anybody's really sticking it to the elite bad, they wind up dead. They usually do. They usually do. And I'm also aware that I probably am sticking it to the elite bad, but I'm not big enough yet right now, probably. But I realize that if I actually get out to the point where I have like millions of views and I get more professional on this and I bring out some hard data on some things that are going on, I realize I'd probably be a target myself. But you know what? I don't think I'd be too easy of a target, to tell you the truth. I don't think so. So, I don't want to say. Because I'm a little bit connected in some ways. That's another drawback to them. That's another drawback to them. So, anyway. But like I said, I've always been old school. I don't trust anything too much electronic. I know. I mean, I kind of like, the numbers. I don't trust it too much. So, you're probably, like I said, you're going to see a lot more videos on how to do stuff, and hopefully these damn cats get along pretty good. Cause, I'm going to find out if this Caesar Nero guy up here is so scared he's going to be all right, man. I don't know, maybe. He might turn around with me, man, because, like, I know my cat, he's like, he's scared of every other human he meets, but with me, holy shit, he follows me everywhere. He's like my little buddy, so maybe this guy's going to turn out the same way. I don't know. But, that has a lot to do with how you treat cats and people and all that other shit, so you get loyalty. So, anyway, just watch out for the buzzwords in the alternative media, too. I want to leave you with that. Because whenever they talk about change, oh, man. You know what they're saying? Throughout the system, we got something new. The system's not broke. The system's not broke. The American system's not broke. The Bill of Rights is the best damn thing that we got to limit the government with. You don't want to throw that out. Number one, freedom of speech and religion, right? The right to say what you need to say, and freedom to protect yourself. The American population is the militia per self. Those two are the top ones. And number 10, just because there's certain rights enumerated in the Bill of Rights doesn't mean that there are other rights that you don't inherently have. They pretty much thought of everything in that Bill of Rights, man. It's just that you got to stick with it. You got to stick with it. You don't need change. So, anyway, just beware of the freaking snake oil out there, because I'm smelling something coming up with this silver and gold. I don't think it's gonna crash too much like the way these people have been saying, and I think it's on its way up. But when it goes up, I think it's going to surprise the hell out of us, and it's going to fake us out one more time. I'm thinking when it breaks through 50, they're going to be screaming 100, 500, and 1,000, and it ain't going to hit 100. It's going to reset below 50, and then a few years from now, then it's going to break through 100.